We'll get started with the session just in a bit. So I am also going to take a look at YouTube chats, and we're going to be having people from there as well. Prakash from India. People from India, just leave the name of your city so that we know where you're from. Michelle is from Nigeria. Great. So if you're already done with your introductions, amazing. Thanks for introducing yourselves. Now, this is going to be your agenda for today. So we're going to understand what the trends are in the cloud architect career path. And you're going to understand that through also understanding the program, which is called the Cloud Architect Master's Program. So while you understand what's going on with this career, what is coming up, and how you can build your career in this particular domain, you will also understand how this course is going to help you build your career in the cloud architect field. Okay, so that's going to be the agenda for today. And let's say you have a question to ask, you know what to do. Please use the Q&A box and use the chat box only for interactions with our expert. Okay, now let's say you missed something in between, you couldn't hear something, whatever the issue is, you can always watch the recording. And because the session is being recorded, and also we are streaming on YouTube. So you can definitely take a look at the recording after we have sent you the recording, on email. So how do you receive the recording? How will you receive the certificate? So that will happen once you give us your name towards the end of the session, and then we send you an email in a couple of days, right? So that's those are some ground rules to follow. Just reiterating the ground rules for everyone who is, starting to watch us on YouTube, just for you guys to understand. This session is being recorded, so do not worry if you miss something. And if you have questions, please use the Q&A box to ask your questions. Okay, great. Thank you everyone for your introductions. My name is Aparna. So if you have any questions about screen share, anything that's going on on the technical side, just reach out on the chat. But anything else with respect to cloud architect, please use the Q&A box to ask our expert. Okay, great. So now that the agenda is set and you've understood how the session is going to go, I'm going to quickly introduce Simplilearn before I introduce our expert. So Simplilearn offers digital skills across various domains, cloud computing being one of them. So if you're interested in checking out courses in the other domains, other digital skills could be tech, digital marketing, project management, anything, just head on to simplilearn.com and you will find our portfolio of courses. Okay. Specifically speaking with cloud computing, you can check out courses. You also have certifications, you have masters, and you can also take up some detailed postgraduate programs as well. So specifically today, we're going to be talking about the Cloud Architect Master's Program, everything about that, and of course, how you can build your career as a cloud architect. Okay, so for that, we have our expert, who is Dr. Purshottam Asudani. He is the assistant professor of Sri Ramdev Baba College of Engineering in Nagpur, and he specializes in all cloud computing domains, be it Azure, AWS, and even Google Cloud. Okay, so Dr. Purshottam, thanks so much for being present with us today. If you could introduce yourself to the class.
Thanks a lot, Aparna, for having me here. Yeah. And thanks for the kind introduction. So hello, everyone. A very good evening to all of you, and good morning and good afternoon to all others, those who are joining in from different time zones. Right, guys. So just to add something more to the introduction, right? So, guys, I'm working as a Microsoft certified trainer, AWS certified trainer, and I've done my research in cloud computing, my PhD in resource scheduling in cloud from VIT, Vellore, India. And I have been working as a corporate trainer in the said cloud domain, like on public cloud platforms. That includes AWS, Azure, and GCP. Also, guys, I've delivered multiple trainings with multiple world-class universities and organizations, MNCs, as well as I'm associated with Caltech University, USA, for delivering their postgraduate program in cloud computing. With some more universities like Purdue University, USA, and some IITs like IIT Kanpur, IIT Guwahati for delivering their cloud computing programs, right? And yes, I'm 3 times certified on AWS, having the top level certification in AWS on architect domain, that is AWS Architect Professional, Microsoft Azure Architect, and Azure Associate, Administrator Associate, Google Cloud Professional Architect, and Oracle Certified Associate as well. Yeah, so this is in short about me. Thanks, Aparna, for allowing me to introduce myself. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much for introducing yourself, Dr. Purshottam. Got a lot of credentials to your name. I'm sure people will take away a lot of learnings and insights from the session. So, just for us to know you guys a bit better, we're going to launch a quick poll on Zoom and people on YouTube. Hi, Enoch from Nigeria. People on YouTube, you guys can also answer this question on the live chat. Okay. So how are we going to go about? Here you go. I'm going to launch a poll and you are going to choose whatever answer is most suitable. Okay. So if you're experienced, just make sure you choose the right one so that we know who you are and what your profile is. Okay, great, great. And we're going to keep the poll live for a minute. And just one more question that I want to add to this poll is I would want you guys to respond on the chat is what exactly are you looking for from this session? So that will again help Dr. Purushottam deliver the session accordingly, give you insights and advice accordingly. So if you're done answering the poll, just leave me a message on the chat. What is it that you expect from the session? I'm also going to type it down for everyone. What is it that you want to take away from the session? Okay, that's my question to you guys. Yeah, if you're done answering the poll, I would want you guys to answer this as well, because you should know why you're here and what exactly is it you want to take away. Thanks, Enoch, for your response, but great. Great. Also, please put in your expectations of the session on the chat. Good, good. Okay. Of course, you can ask these questions later on, but what is it that you actually want to know from the sessions? Today's agenda is knowing how you can build a cloud architect career, right? What is it that is coming up or what has been in trend in 2024? So I would want you to base your expectations around that. Give me your answers on the chat. Okay, future in my cloud computing skill improvement, what certifications to start with, future trends in cloud computing, any emphasis on AI, how important is cloud, okay, how is the importance of cloud computing? Okay, everyone can just make it a little more quicker. For people asking us the YouTube link, you can head on to Simplilearn's. Simplilearn is the YouTube channel's name. You can check the live stream there. Okay, amazing. So I'm going to end the poll and also thanks everyone for your responses. So this is for Dr. Purushottam to see our profile. So we've got about half of them who are currently studying, and some of them have also expressed what they actually want to learn from the session, which is great. So I think I'll hand it over to you here, Dr. Purushottam. You can take over and.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Aparna. Right. So, guys, I'll also try to answer almost all of your questions also, as I can see in the chat window. Right. So what is but before that, let me begin with this. So what's a cloud architect? So see, cloud architect are the persons who make the design decisions. Okay. So basically, architects are responsible for making high-level design choices and dictating technical standards. And let me tell you guys, architects are the person that are one of the most valued persons in an organization because of the fact that they do design decisions. So they can actually do miracles for an organization. Like they can save a lot of money and the resources of an organization. They can make sure that the resources are being accessed very effectively in an organization. So that's why architect role is a very vital role. So if the architect is performing his duties as required, and architect is a person who is very good at his work, then the organization is going to make a lot of profits, and that is going to reflect in the role of the architect itself. So yeah, so architects play a vital role and a very major important role in an organization, correct? So they make the design decisions, and then the developers and other people follow. They follow on the architect that is being prepared by the architect of the organization. Okay, so their main goal is to develop and maintain an efficient, secure, and scalable cloud infrastructure using Amazon Web Services. When I talk about AWS Architect, okay, so AWS Architect would deal with the services in cloud. And when I say services in cloud, so there are, like, let's say there is a task to be performed in an organization. So there'll be a number of services, a number of options to go about that task and get it done with the help of the cloud services. So then the architect's role is that which service to use, how to use it, so that it best suits the organization's objective and the constraints that they may be having in picture. Like it can be related to the budget constraints, it can be related to the resources constraints. So based on all those constraints and all those requirements, which services will best suit their purpose, so architects should be able to differentiate and should be able to identify those kind of services and yeah, come up with a design that would include those services in the architect of the in the architecture of the plan of the things, right? So yeah, that's there.
I'm just, yeah, coming up in cloud.
Yeah. Then coming to the trends and technologies in cloud architecture, guys. So see, I mean, cloud is in picture, it's growing very fast. And basically, if you talk about the cloud adoption growth, so by 2024, 98% of the companies are expected to adapt cloud technologies. It has been growing fast, and then by 2024, as they say, that 98% of the companies will adapt to cloud technologies, making cloud architecture a critical skill. Okay, so and the cloud industry is growing rapidly with an expected 19.1% CAGR between 23 to 28. So that's huge. Okay, now when we talk about, guys, the cloud platform, basically when you talk about the public cloud platform, so you will see any of the organizations that are into cloud, that are into public cloud space, they would more often than not be with the market leaders. Now, when I talk about market leaders, so you cannot forget the name of AWS, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud Platforms. Okay, so and if you would number it out, then I would put AWS on the top, then Microsoft Azure, and then the Google Cloud. But then at the same time, so you would say, then I would just go and learn maybe AWS. But then let me tell you, normally the organizations are not just in one cloud platform. Like they may use some services from one cloud provider, another from another cloud provider. Okay, so that's why today is the era of multi-cloud platforms. And when it comes to multi-cloud platforms, normally you will see the organizations using some services from AWS, some from Azure, and some from Google Cloud Platform. So yeah, so having good knowledge on these cloud platforms, at least if not three, maybe two cloud platforms like AWS and Microsoft Azure, is going to help you a lot. Correct? So that's there. And when I talk about these, and yeah, so they are the market leaders like AWS and Azure, and who makes them as the market leaders? So their revenue and the services that they provide. And there's a research organization that is a Gartner. They actually have 4 quadrants of visionaries and leaders. So leader quadrant is the topmost, and AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud belong to the leader quadrant, correct? So they are the market leaders. And so you can actually gain hands-on experience with tools such as AWS Lambda, container services, and Inspector. So there are a lot of services, lot of resources that you can create in these cloud platforms. And just to name a few, like Lambda is a compute-based service, and even container services are compute-based services, and Inspector falls in the security service. Okay, so yeah, so when you learn these cloud platforms, you will learn about many of these services. And yes, so cloud is an ocean, I would say. There are a lot of services, and whatever you have it in your on-premises, you have it in the cloud. Be it your network, your databases, your servers, your AI related services, blockchain related services, all of this those things you have it in the cloud platform. Yeah, that's it. So even when I talk about job market expansion, so cloud professionals are highly sought after. Okay. So they have an average salary of $130K in the US, correct? So that's huge. And when I talk about the salary part or the package part of the cloud professionals, so let me tell you, architects are even paid very handsomely because they have the major role to do in an organization, correct? And roles in cloud platform are growing at 15% from 21 to 31. And if you'll ask me, there are a lot of roles that are there. I mean, you can be in a cloud space if you want to be, and then you can be a cloud architect, you can be a cloud developer, you can be a DevOps professional architect. You can be an administrator, you can just be a cloud engineer. Okay, you can be an AI engineer in cloud. Again, in AI engineer, you can get into the prompt engineering. So there are a lot of roles that are there. As per your choice, as per your interest, you can go in with any particular role. Yeah.
Got it. Great. Thanks for that. We're just going to understand top 5 cloud architect trends.
Yeah. So see, the cloud architect trends, top 5 in 2024. So yeah, the first one, I mean, how can you forget about AI and machine learning integration? Guys, that is anything. In fact, I could see some of you asking me also AI's role in cloud. So AI has got a very big role to play. And in fact, cloud has got a big role to play with AI because see, AI is there, and now you have the cloud service providers providing you a lot of services wherein you can just use those AI-based services, and you can do your job on your fingertips. So it's that easy. Let's suppose if I want to create a chatbot, let me tell you guys, I can do it very easily with the help of the services in cloud. Let's say in Azure, let's say in AWS, I can use Machine Learning Studio in Azure. Or different AI-based services in AWS like Bedrock and stuff. Okay, so things have become pretty easy with the cloud integration, and you can actually create, as I said, if I want to create a chatbot, let's say in Azure, I can do it without even coding it. Also, with the help of cloud services, I can create it in Go. So yeah, AI and machine learning integration, AI-driven automation, cloud-native AI solutions are very popular. If I talk about AI, well, there are subfields of AI. You have NLP, natural language processing, you have machine learning, you have deep learning, you have computer vision. Okay, optical character recognition comes under computer vision only. You have generative AI. So all these are there included in AI. There are services to provide all these particular features in cloud platform, correct? So you can have NLP based services. You can convert speech to speech to text, text to speech. You can do processing of videos. You can analyze the images, analyze the text. You can do machine learning stuff. You can generate new images, generate new generate new code, generate new text with the help of generative AI. Yeah, so even OpenAI has a tie-up with Azure, correct? So think about anything you want to do in AI, machine learning, and you have cloud, you have the services in these cloud platforms like AWS, Azure, GCP, in which you can do it very easily, correct? So yeah, so go get into cloud. In fact, there are great certifications also on AI, like you have AI in Azure, AI in AWS, you have AI 900, Azure AI Fundamentals, AI 102, that is AI Associate in Azure, correct? So cloud providers have got you the certifications also. Get the knowledge on AI-based services in cloud platform. Get yourself certified also. Yeah, so that's there. Plus, there is multi-cloud and hybrid architecture. So as I said, today's the era of multi-cloud platform, already told you. So when I talk about multi-cloud, you will have the organizations using some services from AWS, some from Azure, and then you would like to communicate between those cloud providers. And it's very easy to do it. So you can make their networks communicate with each other. So that facility is also provided. Plus, hybrid architectures are in thing. I'll give you just a small example for hybrid architecture, just a small use case. Let's say there is an X company that wants to move their resources to cloud platform, public cloud platform, it's as it is very cost effective. But then there is some data that they are reluctant to move to public cloud because that is like very sensitive to this organization, correct? So what they can do is they can keep that very sensitive data in their private cloud and move the rest of the data in the public cloud, and then they can make the communication between their private cloud and the public cloud. So a hybrid cloud can come in picture. So hybrid cloud, it's basically an integration of public private cloud together or public community cloud together, correct? So that is also in thing. Then edge computing. Yeah, please.
No, please go ahead.
Yeah. So edge computing basically talks about processing the things on the edges itself. So computing on the edge. See, normally what happens with edge-based devices like IoT-based devices, it becomes difficult actually to do the computation like internally into the cloud, because it can take time. It can sometimes it would increase the latency. So if there are small computations that can just be done at the edges itself on the outer layer of the clouds, yeah, so that can be done, and that is very useful with IoT based devices. And yes, if you are doing it, so that comes under edge computing. So cloud architecture extending to the edge for real-time data processing is really useful, correct? Then you have serverless architectures also. So in serverless architecture, like you have Lambda service in AWS, which is nothing but a serverless architecture, that is serverless function. Then you have function apps in AWS. Okay. So these serverless architectures, function apps in Azure, Lambda in AWS, correct? So these serverless architectures don't create the servers, and then, you don't have to create the servers. The infrastructure, the servers would be created in the backend, and then you won't come to know about it as well, correct? So so it's serverless for you. So with serverless architectures, you can actually save on a lot of cost when you actually provision your resources. So increased use of serverless computing for cost and scalability benefits is what is preferred. And of course, security first approach. So security is a prime concern when we talk about public cloud providers, guys. And let me tell you, these market leaders like AWS, Azure, GCP, they do provide a lot of security measures to keep your data secured. So you can make use of encryption-based mechanisms. In fact, if you want to store, let's say, your data in the storage, let's say in Azure, so they don't allow you to store your data without encryption. So even if you don't store your data in a plain text format, Microsoft will encrypt and then store it. Okay. So you can have your data encrypted even in AWS, Azure, GCP. Then you can apply security groups, firewalls you have to keep your resources secured. You can apply IAM-based methods, identity and access management, to make sure that which users have access to your resources and which users don't have, correct, with the help of role-based access controls, zero trust model. So yeah, you can have a great security for your resources in the cloud platform. And yes, that can be really helpful. Yeah. Then, of course, must know technologies for 2024 cloud architects, guys. So if you are a cloud architect, or if you are planning to become a cloud architect, so these are the technologies that you must be knowing, at least if you are in 2020. Of course, we all are in 2024 right now. So we should, as a cloud architect, you should be good, at least, in these technologies. These are must ones, like container and orchestration, guys. So containers are lightweight. You can say they are the lightweight virtual machines, okay, wherein with applications, you have all the dependencies installed. So they are lightweight, scalable, portable cloud deployments. Okay, so that's what containerization is. There is a lot that can be said about containerization, guys, but I'll keep it precise. So they are the lightweight VMs that you can have it in the cloud, and the orchestration of that means if you want to create those container instances, multiple of them in one go, if you want to increase or decrease the number of container instances, if you want one container instance to talk to another container instance, like one container instance having a front end web application, another container instance having a backend, let's say database, and they want to talk to each other. So you can do all these things with the help of container orchestration. And one of the container orchestration technology is Kubernetes from Google. You have got, and there's a support for Kubernetes almost in all cloud providers. Now you have in Azure with the service called as EKS, Elastic Kubernetes Service. In AWS, you have it. Again, the support for Kubernetes, correct? So yes, so that is there. And uh, like you have Kubernetes from Google, which is container orchestration service, container orchestration technology. Similarly, you have Docker Swarm from Docker as again a container orchestration technology. You have Apache from Mesos. Okay, yeah, so these are all our container orchestration technologies, correct? So that's there. Yeah, so you should be good in containerization and orchestration. That is nothing but a compute-based services. Okay, and why are containers so popular other than virtual machines? Because guys, they are lightweight than your virtual machines, because containers don't have the complete copy of the operating system. They do have lightweight version of the OS. And that makes them pretty lightweight in nature. I will not go into the details of containerization or the architecture part of it. Otherwise, we will deviate from the topic actually, right? So I'll keep it till this point. Then infrastructure as a code. So see IaaC. Now let me tell you guys, with IaaC, you can actually write a code and create your resources. So if you want to create your resources, there are multiple ways to do so, like in AWS, Azure, GCP, like you can do it through Portal, you can do it through CLI, and you can also do it through IaaC, that is infrastructure as a code, in which you write the code and you create your resources. And let me tell you, you can do it in the open source platform like Terraform to do it. But if you talk about specifically, so with Terraform, you can create those resources by writing the code in AWS also, in Azure also, in GCP also. But you have AWS, Azure, GCP, proprietary services also through which you can do it. Like in AWS, you have cloud formation template, just like Terraform, which are IaaC infrastructure as a service code, wherein you can write your code and create your resources in AWS. Okay. Then you have like you have cloud formation in AWS, you have ARM templates, Azure Resource Manager templates in Azure, correct? So these are IaaC, Terraform, cloud formation, and then you can have Ansible for automation and infrastructure management. And how they are very good, guys, I'll give you an example. Let's say if you want to create 100 virtual machines, okay, so you can do it in one go. Like you can just write the code to create one virtual machine and put it in a loop and run that loop for 100 times, and your 100 VMs would be created in one go. Not just that thing, you can reuse that code. Like if I have created a code to create a virtual machine, 100 VMs, I can give you that code. You can create your 100 virtual machines with the same code. You don't have to rewrite it. Plus, you can also modify and use that code as well as per your requirement. Yeah, so that's the best thing about having or creating your resources through infrastructure as a code. Yeah, so you should be knowing about it, correct? If you want to be a cloud architect. Then cloud security tools and best practices. Yeah, so you should be aware about AWS Shield, which is a security service in AWS, plus Security Center, and GCP's Cloud Armor, correct? So security tools, services in cloud platforms you should be aware about. Then data management and storage solutions. Of course, see, data is a vital thing. So whether you are an architect, whether you are a developer, whether you are an administrator, whether you are just a practitioner, data related services you should be good with. So cloud native databases you should be good with, like RDS, which is a relational database service in AWS, which is used for SQL data. Then you have similar such service in Azure with the name Azure SQL for relational data in Azure. Then you have GCP Bigtable in Google Cloud Platform. Plus for NoSQL data, like you have DynamoDB in AWS, you have Cosmos DB in Azure, correct? So yeah. Plus, there is not just SQL and NoSQL data. There are other kinds of data also right now these days, correct? So you have graph kind of a data like that is used in Facebook. Like if I'm a friend of X person and X person is friend of Y person, so I get suggestions to be a friend with Y person, correct? So that uses graph database, and there are good graph database based services in the cloud platforms. Like you have Neptune service in AWS, which is used for as a graph DB service, correct? Yeah, so that's there. You should be good in that. I mean, you should know about it. Then, of course, DevOps and CI/CD pipeline. So you would like to have automation. You would, and especially this is for DevOps engineer, they should be very, very good in creating the CI/CD pipelines, continuous integration, continuous deployment pipelines. Okay, and there are a lot of tools that can help them to do it. To establish your CI/CD pipelines, like you have Jenkins, GitLab, Circle CI. In fact, there are proprietary tools in AWS, in Azure for that can be used as the DevOps tools. Like you have what you have code deploy, code pipeline in AWS, a code commit as a repository, just an alternative of Git. Okay, code commit, code build. Yeah, so yes, these are the services in AWS. Yeah, so these all technologies you should be good in if you want to be a good cloud architect. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe some certifications that they should be pursuing.
Yes, of course. So if you want to be a cloud architect, so top certifications that I would suggest, you can become an AWS certified cloud solutions architect, associate and professional. So see, there are basically three levels. In AWS, they provide, you have foundation level, then you have associate level, then you have professional tier. Okay, so professional is the highest tier. Like if you'll ask me, I have done, like, I'm a cloud practitioner first, that's on the foundation level. Then I did architect associate on the associate level, then did the architect professional as well. So yeah, so if you are an architect professional, you have got the top level certification in architect domain on AWS, correct? So initially, if you want to become an architect, you should go with architect associate and then architect professional. Okay, and if you're new to cloud, you can even think of first going with cloud practitioner if you're new to AWS, correct? Then in Azure, of course, for architect, like I've done architect expert. Okay, so that's the certification that you have got with Azure if you want to become a Microsoft certified Azure solutions architect expert. So that's a certification if you want to become an architect in Microsoft Azure. Then in Google, you have the certification named as Google Cloud Professional Cloud Architect, right? The one that I said I have done as well, correct? So yeah, so if you want to be an architect, you should do these certifications, and then you must be wondering that if I am an AWS architect, why I would go with Azure? As I said, this is an era of multi-cloud platform. So at least if not three, like I have done all these three. You can see architect, associate, professional, then Microsoft Azure architect, Google Cloud Professional architect as well. No, but at least you should thrive and go for at least two cloud platforms. That's what my suggestion would be. Okay, then of course you should be, I mean, you can be certified Kubernetes administrator. That's also a top certification in 2024. Yeah, so that's there. Yeah, then why certifications matter, guys? Okay, now you may be saying that I have knowledge, I mean, why I need certification? See, you have knowledge, it's very good. I mean, of course that would be showcased in some way or the other way, but how people will come to know about your knowledge? Of course, if a person is in touch with you, he knows about you, he then knows about your knowledge also. But the person who is new to you, of course we all know, like when you want to change your job, when you want promotions in your job, when you want to switch, as I said, or when you're new to your job, so it gives a stamp to your knowledge that okay, if you are certified, and certification doesn't mean like you're getting a certification, let's say from XYZ provider. These are the certifications directly from the source, like global certifications straight away coming from AWS in case of AWS, straight away coming from Microsoft in case of Azure, from Google in case of GCP, right? So they do matter. So they do matter, correct? That gives a stamp on your knowledge, and that validates your expertise, improves your job prospects, and increase your salary potential, of course, right? So that's there.
Great. Thanks. Just how they can actually build their career paths towards becoming a cloud architect.
Yeah. So as I said, you should start with fundamentals. So when I say about fundamentals, so first of about basic cloud knowledge, as in what is cloud. If you're very new to cloud, guys, so you don't know anything about cloud. So first thing you should study is what is cloud computing, correct? What are the service models? What are the deployment models in cloud, like service models as in SaaS, PaaS, IaaS, software as a service, platform as a service, infrastructure as a service, then deployment models like private cloud, public cloud, community cloud, hybrid cloud. Okay, and once you're good with that, you have some good understanding, definition, and the service models, deployment models in cloud. then you can actually think of going to a public cloud platform. So you can specialize in a cloud platform. So start with one. Okay, don't start with all three at once. So start with one, maybe AWS, Azure, or GCP, and get the fundamental knowledge. Like if you're going with AWS, you can think of going with AWS Technical Essentials and then AWS Practitioner, Cloud Practitioner. Okay, in Azure, you can go with Azure Fundamentals, where there is a certification also for that named as AZ900. Then Google also, you can go for Google Cloud Fundamentals first. And once you're good with that, then you can gain hands-on experience, lab work, internships, correct? So yeah, that can really help, because guys, in cloud, it's about more of the practical that you should be knowing here. In fact, in our classes that we do take here or anywhere, there are a lot of practical based labs that we do. In fact, scenario based project kinds of lab, because hands-on activity is very, very important when we talk about cloud platforms, and when you want to be on the technical side in the cloud, correct? So yeah, so hands-on experience very much required, and then you can get certified in achieving top tier certification. So after practitioner foundation level certifications, you can think of associate level certifications as well. And yeah, so you can master cloud design and architecture principles, keep up with the latest technologies. Of course, guys, so see, continuous learning and networking is something that is required, correct? So you should continuously learn. See, the core services are not going to change, but then there will be addition of new services that will keep on coming, and you should be good. I mean, you should keep on learning to be good in all those things. Correct. Yeah. So that's how your path should be. So start with what is cloud computing if you're new, and then go ahead with one of the cloud platforms and get ahead. And I also like to add here, if you're from a non-tech background, let's say, okay, if so, maybe as a prerequisite, you can think of having some networking concepts, some knowledge on networking concepts, plus some knowledge on operating system, especially Linux OS. That can really help you. Yeah.
Great. So I think we've got comprehensive information on how you should pursue and become a cloud architect and pursue a career in cloud computing in general. So I'm going to ask you this very quick question on what is exactly stopping you from becoming a cloud architect, let's say an expert cloud architect. So whatever is the option that seems the most suitable, please choose that. And also people on YouTube, great questions coming in. So I will pass that on to Dr. Purshottam in a while. But before that, please let me know whatever your response is to the poll question. And as always, we'll keep it live for just 1 minute so that we're able to take the session forward faster. Yes. Yeah, so anyone else who still has questions, please use the Q&A box. Because I will be keeping the chat box off for a while, just to avoid distractions. Use the Q&A box for any career-related questions in the cloud domain. Okay. Yeah, so people on YouTube can also use the live chat to answer this particular question here. Great. Okay, so I think we're done with our responses. Here you go. I'm also sharing the results so that our expert can see this. So most of you feel that you don't have the practical exposure you need to become an expert, to become job ready, basically. And a few of you feel your work schedule does not allow, you can't learn from pre-recorded videos, or you don't find a curriculum that is comprehensive and that covers all bases. Okay. Okay, anyway, so this is where I think the Cloud Architect Masters program comes into picture. Enoch, thank you so much for sharing your response as well. Praymore73, I will pass this question on in a while. But just before that, I would like to introduce you to this program, which actually covers all the concerns that you just shared. right? So some of you felt that you don't have the hands-on exposure or the hands-on learning. So this course offers exactly that. So you have projects, you have hands-on labs on which you learn and apply whatever you've learned directly, and that's there with every module that you learn, okay? And secondly, this particular certification is aligned to Microsoft Azure and AWS. So like Dr. Purshottam mentioned, these are our leading providers in the cloud computing domain. So our not certification, our master's program contains various modules that are aligned towards these two providers. Okay, so you have got a curriculum that is comprehensive and that is also industry aligned, right? And the best part is that you get this course delivered to you on your devices and you can interact with your trainers virtually live so that you can ask your questions, concerns directly with the trainer. So I'm going to also show you the platform which you'll get access to in a while, right? And of course, this program, because it's online and because it's virtual, you have the facility to fit your work schedule as well while you're upskilling. Okay, so the duration of the program is 4 months, and you only have to give in about 10 to 15 hours a week, which is essentially 2 hours maximum in a day. Okay, and that's probably something that's doable. Okay, so I'll share these details in a while as to when the course cohort starts, all of the enrollment steps in a while. But before that, let me also tell you the eligibility criteria. So you don't need to be from a tech background. Someone had that question already. So you don't have to be from a tech background. You can be a fresh graduate who's wanting to transition to a cloud career, want to explore the cloud computing domain. You can still join this program, which means you can still have less than 2 years of experience and become a part of the course. Okay. Now, what the course offers exactly in terms of curriculum, I think Dr. Purushottam here can just highlight our key modules and what you're going to be learning. So, Dr. Purushottam, if you could just take them
Yes.
through the whole curriculum.
Sure. I think I'm unable to start my video. I'll just get ahead this way itself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, guys. So how the program builds your skills step by step. So see, in our program, you will go through all these courses, and that can really help, right? So initially, I mean, you can go with AWS Cloud Architect. Then in Azure, you can go with, so AWS Cloud Architect will cover the architect skills. Okay, right. Maybe Aparna, you can see if I'll be able to start the video. That would be fine. Otherwise, this is also okay, right? I'm unable to start.
No problem.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. So AWS Cloud Architect. Then you can go with, um, that's nothing but will deal with the architect level services on AWS, correct? So that will prepare you for architect level certification on AWS. Then you have Azure Fundamentals that prepares you for Azure AI 900, that is Azure Fundamentals. Then, so in that you will get the, what I can say, the basic level of services in Azure, correct? And then with Azure admin, then the next course is Azure Administrator Associate, and as was rightly pointed out by Aparna, that you will have a lot of hands-on experience. Yeah, so Azure Administrator Associate, AWS Solutions Architect do include a lot of labs, scenario-based labs, project kind of labs you will see there, correct? So yeah, that's what you will go through. And then, with that course, you will be prepared for Azure Administrator Certification, that is AZ 104. Okay, and then you have the designing Microsoft Azure Infrastructure Solutions, that is Azure Architect course, for which the code is AZ 305. So you'll get prepared for this particular course as well, correct? So you can become a Azure Architect also. Correct. And of course, after finally, you will have a course and project after the end of every course, correct? Plus, other than that, at the end of this program, you will have a cloud architect capstone project. So what's the difference between a normal project and a capstone project? So see, normal projects are also like, they are also scenario-based projects that have real-time scenarios. Okay. real-time use case-based projects. But with a capstone project, it would be more towards the real-time use case-based project, which would include multiple services from multiple cloud platforms. So till this point, you would have learned Azure, AWS. So this capstone project will be a project that would include the services from multiple cloud platforms like AWS and Azure. So yeah, that can be a real-time based project. You will see that. Yeah, so that can be really useful. Plus, apart from that, these are the compulsory courses that you have to complete in order to successfully complete your program. Apart from that, there are electives. Now, out of all these electives, you can opt for one or you can opt for all of them. And let me tell you, there is no extra cost that you have to pay for opting for these electives, correct? So you have electives on mastering AWS services, official AWS content, then exposure to cloud platforms on Google Cloud, AWS SysOps Associate, like you have Azure Administrator Associate, then AWS Developer Associate, Azure Developer Associate is at 204, database migration on AWS, and you can see how you can do the migration of databases from on-premises or other cloud platforms to AWS. Yeah, so that's there. Then Cloud Technical Essentials as well.
Great. Thanks, Dr. Purshottam. Next, coming up, if you can just highlight some key tools and platforms that they'll be learning.
Yeah, so see, these are just few of the tools and like the services that they'll be learning. Plus, apart from that, there'll be a lot more services that they can go through. So just to highlight few of them, like if I talk about the compute-based services, so you have virtual machines, you have app services. Okay, with virtual machines, you can create your servers in cloud. With app services, you can create your applications in a PaaS-based manner in cloud platform. Then again, you have compute-based service Lambda, with which you can run your workloads in cloud. That's a serverless service. Okay, then you can create your containers with a container service, like you have Azure Container Service there. With Elastic Beanstalk, you can create PaaS-based service for hosting your web applications in AWS. Okay, then you have load balancer service in AWS with the name Elastic Load Balancer. It's IAM service. You can create users in AWS. Okay. Then if you want to have your key, if you want to manage it in a secured manner, with which you can do encryption and decryption, you have AWS Key Management Service, AWS IAM I already talked about. Then you have security-based service like AWS Inspector. Okay, EFS is for shared file storage in AWS. Then if you have block-based data, you can go with AWS EBS service, Elastic Block Storage. If you have object-based data, you can make use of S3 service in AWS. That is simple. Storage service in AWS, correct? Okay. Then you have Azure Block Blob. So in Azure, you can make use of Block Blob service to store your data in Azure in blobs. Binary large objects. Okay, then you have Azure Storage Disk to keep your storage disk in Azure, like you have EBS in AWS. Okay, then you have Cosmos DB, which is a NoSQL solution for Azure, correct? SQL, which is a SQL service in Azure. Then you have Route 53, which is nothing but a DNS service in AWS. Plus, that can also be used as a load balancing routing service for routing the load in different regions on different servers, correct? Yeah.
Right. Great. Thanks. Thanks so much, Dr. Purshottam. So just some insight on who can take this, because I'm sure a lot of them have questions on YouTube. This is going to come later as well. So can they be from any background, or should they be only from these five, domains? So if you can just highlight that as well.
So see, basically now the point is that any professional that is interested in hosting highly scalable, fault-tolerant applications on the platform should take this Cloud Architect Certifications course. So see, as I told you that you can take it up, but then there are few roles and disciplines that are ideal for cloud architects training, like the solutions architect, programmers, cloud developers, cloud software engineers, DevOps professionals, correct? So they are the ideal persons who can take this up, but that doesn't mean that others cannot take it up. As I said that even if you are from non-tech background also, you just fulfill the prerequisites a bit and then you can take this, or otherwise in this course also, sometimes we do take the prerequisites also, and that way you can get into the program, correct? So a prerequisite as in some knowledge on networking and on the operating system, especially Linux OS. Okay, yeah, so that should be good. And as I could see that many of you are learning also right now, are like students or still in the learning phase. I think 50% of the learners that we have here, correct? So yes, it's not that, guys. I mean, I have trained many persons who are studying and who are doing great. In fact, I would tell you that in our university also, like we do train the persons who are still learning, who are students, and then they do get a lot of edge. And someone at that question, I could read it before that. I'm a fresher, how I would get into IT. So it is not that it's not for the freshers, and even if you are a fresher you can get into IT. And then if you have cloud knowledge, if you have some, let's say, the practitioner or the fundamental certification on cloud also, companies will prefer you to hire you in their organizations, right? So that's it.
Got it. Great.
Thank you.
Yeah. So if you can also highlight the industry-based hands-on projects that they will be doing as a part of this course, because a lot of them have this concern that they don't have practical exposure.
Yeah, so as I said that every course that you will go through will have a course and project. Okay, and at the end you will have a capstone project also. Now these are the real-time use case based project that would mimic the real life scenarios. Okay, industry based scenarios. And yes, so there are, like, just to name few, like you have implement the Azure IaaS, wherein you would create the virtual networks in Azure and then you would do peering amongst them. In fact, there are some YouTube lectures also, Aparna, wherein by other trainers also and by me also, wherein in Simplilearn, wherein you can see these technical talks on doing these projects also, right? So in Simplilearn itself, correct? So that's the first one talk about. And then in the second one, we can use Azure portal. We can allow some users to access the resources. We may not allow other users to access the resources through role-based access control. Plus, we have Azure function listening to a Q2. So yeah, on functions, we can have it. Plus on infrastructure as a code, that is ARM templates. So you can use it to create multiple resources in one go. Yeah, so there'll be a lot of hands-on activity and not just these projects, but apart from that, there'll be a lot of labs that would be there. And normally when I take up the courses here also, I do take up scenario-based labs as well, not just the normal labs, but scenario-based, use case-based labs. So that really can help, right?
Got it. Great. Thanks so much for highlighting that as well. Now I'm just going to take a few minutes to highlight or show our learning environment, as in where you'll be accessing this course, right? So we'll also share the course link to you guys in a while. But before that, let me just take you through the platform on which you'll be accessing the course. So this is for any learner who has enrolled, and you can see that you are able to access all your modules here. And before I go into one module, you can see there's something known as a help section. So just like what I said for Q&A in a webinar, let's say you have a question to ask. It can be related to the course, related to your progress, or whatever it is. You can use the help section to reach out to our support team for anything. And there's 24/7 assistance, which means that you can still be in any part of the world and you will still be able to get assistance on your progress and accessing the course, right? So these are your main courses, and you can also access the electives here. Okay. Now let me just show you how the platform looks like for someone who has enrolled, and I'm going to enter this particular module. So you'll not be able to see it now, but you were able to see it earlier, that it shows whether there's a self-learning module or if it's a live class module. So if it's a self-learning module, you will be able to access all the materials here. So remember, for any self-learning modules, you will be able to access the course content for lifetime. So you will still be able to access this platform after you have completed the course. Okay. And here's where you will access the assessments and your reference materials. Okay. Now, and this is where the practice labs happen. Okay. Right. So this is your learning platform. Someone who wants to see it again. Yeah. So if you launch the lab, you're able to practice hands-on for that particular module. And let's say you want to take notes on whatever is going on in the class, or let's say with a certain module, you can use this notes section to write down or take down notes. And again, you have a help section here. So remember that this certificate gets unlocked after you have completed a certain section of the course. So you will have to complete 85% of self-learning, and of course the projects and the simulation test as well. Now, although these are your eligibility criteria to unlock a certificate, that shouldn't be your only purpose. Your purpose should be to learn and gain maximum and obviously leverage this course to get better opportunities, right? So that's a bit about the learning platform. Okay. Now, in case you want to access this, you won't be able to access this right now. This is the demo that you have. Let's say you missed something, please head to the recording and watch it again. Yeah. Now, let's just understand what our past learners how our past learners use this course and chose better opportunities after that. So we have Kaushik and Abhijit who chose this particular cloud architect course and felt that they'd got the best curriculum and also hands-on learning. And of course, because of their skills and because of the way they were able to demonstrate their ability in the interviews they attended, they also got a salary increase as a part of their job switch, right? So you can also be a part of of these success stories by becoming a part of the Cloud Architect Masters program. Okay. Now, I'm still getting questions on whether you can be from the tech background. If I can be from a certain background. Remember that our learner profiles are diverse. So you can see that a lot of learners don't exactly come from the IT or exactly the core tech background. You're able to see here that they come from diverse backgrounds here, from diverse companies. Okay, right? So that's just a bit about how our learners have leveraged the course and also our learners' profiles. Okay. So Dr. Purshottam, if you can, just highlight on the industry trends. I know you did this in the beginning, but just to recap everything that we said, and then I'll talk about the enrollment steps.
Correct. Right. So, see, then again comes the question is why I would pursue a career as cloud architect. So there are some key factors which actually should be good ones for you to pursue your career in cloud as a cloud architect. So there's a huge demand, guys, and it's only going to increase. And why it's only going to increase, guys? Because whatever you have it in your on-premises, you have those things in cloud platform, and it's pretty cost effective with a lot of great features that you can use all those things in cloud. Yeah, so it's only going to increase, and plus that's why it's going to give you high demand and salary. So cloud architects in high demand with an average salary of $130K in the US, and cloud adoption is expected to reach 98% by 2024, as already said. Then career growth. So the cloud industry is growing rapidly, offering significant opportunities for advancement with a 19.1 CAGR forecast through 2028. Plus, there are diverse opportunities, guys. So, see, it's not that if you become a cloud architect or if you are in cloud domain, you will just become you can just get a job in IT sector only or in IT companies only. You can get into healthcare, you can get into finance. So cloud is everywhere, guys. Think about it. Almost every domain is using cloud, correct? Be it like a medical domain also, correct? So yeah. So it leveraging top platforms, and when you think about cloud, there are a lot of cloud providers, but then the major market leaders that are in thing that the companies are using that are being used by maximum of the people or the organizations are AWS, Azure and GCP. Yeah. So right way to get into cloud is to go with these major cloud providers. Yeah.
Great. Thanks so much. So this is the certificate that you receive, and also Microsoft certificates for the Azure modules. You can also find this on our course page. Just to summarize, you get interactions with our live interactive sessions from our trainers. You also receive career assistance, and this is only for India. You receive assistance in terms of how you can position yourself to your employers, how you can tweak your resume so that your resume becomes a highlight and you are able to leverage this course and find different opportunities. So along with these facilities, you obviously get an in-depth curriculum, something that is aligned with the leading cloud providers. Along with that, you get hands-on learning with a lot of tools and labs, right? So this is just to summarize about the course. Now that we have understood pretty much everything about the course and about what you should be doing in order to become a cloud architect. So remember that this is a cloud architect specific webinar. But if you do have other questions related to other cloud certifications, please use the Q&A box. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly gauge your interest here. If you're interested in enrolling and would want a learning advisor to reach out to you, you can click on a yes on the poll, and someone will reach out to you in the next one day, 12 to 24 hours basically, and help you understand how you can become a part of this course and how this course is going to benefit you. Okay, so please use the poll to answer the question. And while we're keeping the poll live, I think Dr. Purshottam, we can also take some questions. Fees, yes. So I have not shared the fees specifically on the deck here because we've got audience from across the globe. So I wouldn't want people to be confused and, having incorrect information. So I'm just going to share the link to the course page on the chat. Okay. Yeah, here you go. Right. And I'm also going to keep the chat box closed for a while so that the link does not go anywhere. You can check the course feed there. In fact, I'm going to also share my screen and show you here. So you'll find the course page, on the link that I shared. Please check that. Remember that the next cohort is starting very, very soon. 26th October is when it is starting. And you can check all the, details that I just shared and also Dr. Purushottam shared. You can check that. Or if you want to, let's say, download the syllabus, you can also do that. You want to talk to an advisor directly, you want to skip the poll, also is fine. There's no problem. But if you have answered it on the poll, remember that you will be reached out on priority by the learning advisor. Okay, because you have attended a webinar and they will be notified that you have actually expressed interest. Okay, so I think while we take this poll, I'm going to pass on a few questions to Dr. Purushottam. So I think you've answered on how to transition from different backgrounds to the cloud background. I'm just going to take a few questions on the chat. Someone had asked about what are the most common cloud service provider, how do they differ, and how do you really determine the best cloud service?
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So see, there are a lot of providers, but as I said, the market leaders are AWS, Azure, and GCP. And how would you differ? So see, basically, I mean, it's very difficult to differ or differentiate, but then there are few services that you may say are better in one cloud provider than the other. So if I would say, like even Gartner says, which is the research organization, they have marked AWS as the market leader in the IaaS based quadrant for IaaS based services, infrastructure as a based services, then Azure for the PaaS based services, and for machine learning based services, Google Cloud provider platform is also having a good edge into it, right? I think that answers.
Great, thanks. So one more question that came in is, okay, as per the research, I saw that there's no job for freshers in cloud. There are only experienced people as it is critical for billing. So can a fresher really get a job in
So
the
Yeah. So see, it's not like that there's no job for the freshers. As I said, that even during the campus interviews in the colleges or universities in our place also, like people, I mean, the companies do hire the freshers, and I mean, and if they have cloud knowledge, probably they get higher packages. Okay, and then they get an edge over others also. So it's not that the freshers don't have the job. The point is that fresher will not get an architect role directly. To be very frank with you, for architects, you need to have good years of experience. But then, even if you do this certification, or even if you do architect associate certification, or at least the practitioner certification, or even with architect certification, you will get edge over others. And then the companies can hire you as a cloud engineer initially, and then later, with good years of experience, you can be promoted to an architect role as well, right? But then not getting into cloud platform is not something the freshers will not do, because companies do hire freshers. And then when the company is in cloud, when the company is operating into cloud, they want their individual, I mean, they want the employees to be doing the work in cloud platform. In fact, not just that thing I get, I mean, let me tell you, I do, when I do corporate trainings with so many organizations, some of them are for the employees who are just the freshers also. And the companies do spend their money to train their employees into cloud platforms, right? So for getting themselves trained. So if you're already trained, they would prefer hiring you than getting you trained over these platforms, correct?
Got it. Great. I hope it answers your question. A couple of questions associated with AWS. So, how does one start if they want to pursue? I mean, what AWS certification should they be starting with? And okay, AWS associate cost. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
If
I'll tell you.
yeah.
So basically, I mean, if you're new to AWS, like if you want to just start with, you can start with AWS Practitioner Associate. Okay, that's the fundamental certification on AWS. Okay, so that is one global certification that you should start with. And as far as the costing is concerned, so for practitioner, the cost is $100. And for architect associate, as you have asked, it's $150. Okay, so yeah, plus taxes would include. Yeah.
Okay. Great. Okay, someone has Ashish Soni has a long question. I want to know which services one must be aware. Okay.
In cloud platform. Okay, I'll read it out. No worries. Yeah. Uh,
Long.
I want to know which services are must be aware. And which services are must to be aware. System in cloud. Okay, engineer in cloud, public cloud of all cloud are currently have like Azure, AWS. If you provide the info about this, so it's help us to only services not required to know every. See, the point is, anyways, you cannot be a master in all the services in cloud platform. I mean, I'm not doubting your capabilities, but you'll hardly find a person who knows in and out of every service on cloud, correct? So, but then which services are important, that differs from course to course. But then core services are something that would come in every course, and you should be very good in that. Core services, as in like compute based services, EC2 VMs in Azure. If I talk about AWS, then EC2 containers, Elastic Beanstalk, then storage level services, S3, EBA, CFS and stuff, network services, VPC and stuff. Then you have database related services, RDS and DynamoDB for NoSQL and so on. So core based services, of course, you should be good in. Then apart from that, application level services will also come into picture. And if you want to, let's say, pursue AI on cloud, so then those AI related services. So there is a domain fixed up. If you want to do blockchain, then you go with the blockchain based services. So core services, application services, and then that particular domain services which you are interested in. Yeah.
Great. Thanks. I hope that answers your question, Ashish. One more person had a question. Cloud software engineering, can you share more about it? Will it also need DSA?
Cloud software engineering, can you also share more about it? So see, basically cloud software engineering, there is no as such term like cloud software engineering that I would say. But then, yeah, if you want to get into that space of software engineering with cloud, so you should get into the DevOps role. I would suggest, because with the DevOps role, you can actually build your pipeline, CI/CD pipelines, and that actually uses your agile model of deployment in the software engineering, correct? So yeah, that can really help you. Yeah.
Got it. I think we have one last question, which is about what is the use case of containerization and why do we use it in cloud?
Okay, so containerization has a lot of good use cases. I mean, uses means see, it would make your machine lightweight in nature. As I said, it's kind of a lightweight VM. So because it doesn't contain the full copy of the operating system, the kernel part of the OS it shares from the underlying host machine, like underlying virtual or physical machine, where on which the container is created. So the container itself will not have the complete copy of the OS, only the part of the OS that is required for running the application. So that makes it lightweight in nature. And because that is lightweight in nature, it makes your application lightweight in nature and you can run it faster. So your applications run faster. Correct. So it is specially preferred for microservices based application. Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. So I'm not sure in what context Kannan has asked this question, but he has a question if
Networking.
networking is really important.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
see, when you talk about cloud, so networking is important, of course. So see, as I told you, some knowledge on networking is good thing if you want to be into cloud. But if you don't have that, also probably when we talk about the networking related services like VPC in AWS or VNets in Azure, we do take up the networking concepts. As in networking concepts, like what is the concept of CIDR block, subnet mask, how you can design your network. Yeah, so that way it is important. Yeah. So in
Got
few certifications, it's really important, like in architect associate also. But that is covered in the course. Then if you don't have the networking knowledge, I think.
it. Understood. Great. Okay, Elizabeth, you can answer on the poll if you're still interested in the course. I think that brings us to the end of the Q&A as well. We've got sufficient question answers. Thank you so much, people on YouTube as well, for participating. Great to, glad to know that your question is answered. Kids Travel Vlog. Okay, that's your name. Okay, great. So quickly, the enrollment steps here are very, very simple. You will have to just fill in an application form. Sorry. You will have to fill in an application form and wait for our admissions panel to review your application. This is just a hygiene step to see that you've met the eligibility criteria, the basic ones. And once they feel that you've met all the criteria, everything is covered, then they will reach out to you and an admission letter will be rolled out. And after that, when you pay the admissions fee, you are into the program. Okay, so these are your enrollment steps. And like I said, I've shared the link to the course page on the chat, on Zoom chat. People on YouTube, you can check out the video description to, check the course details. Okay. Yeah. And let's say you are not able to use the poll, you're not able to, click on the enroll now button. There's a bot on which you can reach out and, send a text to a learning advisor. They will call you back and, help you understand more details about the course. Okay. Worst case, let's say you're not able to access the poll or any of the links on the course page. Remember, there's a bot that pops up. Put your message there. Okay, great. So I think we're done with all the questions and also about the course. So I'm going to now ask you guys to rate the session. If you enjoyed the session, you could give us a 5. And, I'm just going to launch that poll very quickly. Yes. But meanwhile, I would like to take, the time to thank Dr. Purshottam for, co-hosting another session with us and helping learners understand how they can start off in the cloud computing domain. Thank you so much, Dr. Purshottam, for joining us.
Thanks a lot, Aparna. Thanks a lot. It's always been a privilege to be with you people, right? So, and thanks for having me here. Thanks for giving me the opportunity. Yeah. And thank you guys for listening to me. Yeah. Thank you one and all. Thanks, Aparna.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Purshottam. So once the ratings are done, we are going to launch the certificate polls. Thank you so much, everyone, for giving us 5. More than 75% of you have given us 5. Great. Thank you, Papo on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us. Glad that you enjoyed the session. And now I'm going to launch the certificate poll. Remember that your certificate looks something like this. So you will receive this certificate if you enter your name on the poll that I've launched on Zoom. Please make sure that you are entering your full name and only enter your full name. Sometimes we get these certificates that have messages written for us saying, I want to be a part of the course. I wasn't able to enter it on the poll. So if you have such issues, let's say you genuinely want to be a part of the course, that is why we provide the course page link. So please express your interest on the course page as well, in case you're not able to do that on Zoom. Okay, but let's say you do have a question specific to the webinar, then the email ID to reach out to us is webinars@simplilearn.net. And these are questions that, are associated with the certificate or the recording. So remember that you will be receiving the recording the next couple of days. Sandro, Alex, will you be giving us the link to enroll? Happy to, but because this course involves some sort of a screening, you can click on, I'll just show you what you can do right now. So I have shared the link to the course page here. Just click on talk to our advisor here. Okay, so what happens once you click on that? You are giving your name and phone number here along with your work experience. Just express that you would want to be a part of this particular course. Right now, Chishimba, I would request you to please add your name on the poll and not on the chat. So I'm just resharing the link to the course page on the chat with everyone. In case you missed it, please click on this. Okay. And once someone reaches out to you, tell them that you want to be a part of this course as soon as possible. And, that will kind of expedite the process. Yeah. Okay. Great. So I think most of you have answered, about 70% of you have answered. And this, whatever I've showed on the course page also remains valid for people on YouTube. So if you still feel that, you want to be a part of the course, want to enroll, you can follow the same steps. But the poll on Zoom is closed. You won't be able to answer any of that. Let's say I gave you my email ID as well, webinars@simplilearn.net, for anything associated with webinars. Okay, so that we don't receive questions in the form of your full names. Okay. Great. I think we're done with the poll as well. I'm just waiting for 5 more people. And once we have entered the names, I think we're done with the session. Yeah. So if there's, if you want to take a look at the recording right away, YouTube is the place to go. Fortunately, I won't be able to share the exact link here. So just head on to Simplilearn's YouTube channel, and the recent live stream would be this. So please watch the recording there. But be rest assured that you will receive the recording in case you have attended the session. Recording and the certificate will come to you the next couple of days. Yeah? All right. Great. I think we're done. All of you have given your names. Thank you so much for participating. It was wonderful bringing this session. Also, just minor apologies for starting the session a couple of minutes late because we had some technical issues to take care of, right? Okay, great. Glad. Thank you so much for joining in. It was amazing to see this kind of engagement and also participation and interest in learning on a weekday night. So great job, guys. I'll see you again in another session. Bye-bye. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bhushan.